Hi there, and welcome to Online Book Review. I am your host, Stacey Cochran, and we are online via a Skype video call with author Holly Christine, whose book, The Nine Lives of Clemenza, is available at Amazon Kindle in the Kindle store. Thank you very much, Holly, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, let's let folks know a little bit about the book who might not be familiar with it. What's the story of The Nine Lives of Clemenza about?
The Nine Lives of Clemenza is a spiritual novel. It follows the journey of one soul through 9 lives. Clemenza starts out in heaven, and she's just one ball of energy. And she's able to choose whatever form her life will take. So she has some rather interesting lives. She starts out as air and becomes a northern light, human being, a dog, cancer. So she's able to choose whatever form her life will take. At the end of each life, she ends up back in heaven and has to share a lesson learned with God and share a little bit about her life in order to progress to the next life.
How did your background in studying philosophy and English in college, how would you say that influenced your writing?
It's so odd that it did. Whenever I started college, I never, ever in a million years would have thought that I was interested in philosophy. But as I started taking more and more courses, I was definitely interested in just different concepts, and I kind of realized that I'm a little bit of a philosopher myself. But the concept behind The Nine Lives of Clemenza kind of came to being from Leibniz and his monadology. It sounds totally strange. I told one of my friends from college about it, and she was like, "You're kidding me, right?" Because it was such a, philosophy in general, especially modern philosophers, are kind of difficult to read. So the book has more of an easy read feeling to it. It's kind of a childlike narrative. So it's much easier to understand than sitting down and reading serious philosophy.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit.
Okay.
What is it about philosophy and sort of these heavier duty questions? What is it about them that really fascinates you so much?
I'm not really sure. I think just reading other people's ideas, especially about religion, I never really questioned my faith before until I started taking philosophy classes, and especially early on, that's mostly all that I was reading were philosophers debating the existence of God. And I think it was Descartes that just said that he just knew that God existed. Like, he was able to reason that God existed before he could reason that he existed himself. So I found that really fascinating, just the train of thought and following along with that. But the religious aspect always interested me, how to kind of rationalize the concept of faith.
Very cool, very interesting. Yeah, I think it's something that all of us on some level, hopefully, maybe not everybody, some people are just so shallow they don't think about things like that, but I think all of us do kind of, wonder, well, why are we here? What is our purpose? And I want to get to some of those questions here in a moment, but let's keep a focus here on the book. The author, of course, is Holly Christine. Her book is The Nine Lives of Clemenza. So what was the catalyst, Holly, for the book? What was the motivation to write it?
We have a terrible dog. Her name is Clemenza. We took her name from my favorite character from the Godfather movies. And I think that we're just terrible dog trainers. I mean, obviously that's what it comes down to. We're treat throwers. We're constantly tossing her treats left and right. But she's very manipulative. And whenever we first got her, I remember the day that she learned how to jump. And I was unable to read anywhere. So I'm on the couch. I can't read on the couch without her popping her head up over the book and, just seeing her little face right over top of the pages, sticking the pages in between her teeth and everything. So I ended up reading in the tub constantly. It was water or no water. It didn't matter. Like, not even real bath time. Like, I was just hanging out in the bathtub just so that I could read. And one day I was just laying in the tub trying to finish a chapter. I was reading Tom Wolfe's I Am Charlotte Simmons.
Okay.
I had to read it. And the dog sitting there next to me, she just stares at me, just waiting for me to get out so she can just start jumping. And the faucet and the sink faucet started leaking, and I started thinking, like, how odd it would be if I were that one droplet of water, like, and your only glimpse of life is me soaking in a tub. Like, what would you think of that? What would that little droplet of water make of that, like, one scene of life? So from there, I just kind of took it to another level. And I was also kind of, I had 3 deaths in my family, all like one right after the other. And my grandmother passed away, a college roommate passed away, and then my family dog had passed away. So I think that the 9 Lives of Clemenza was not only my way of making sense of faith, but also my way of making these deaths okay, because Clemenza dies at the end of every single chapter. But it's okay because she's progressing on. She's still there, and you'll have to read what happens in the end.
Sure, you don't want to give too much of the ending of the book away. And well, that segues nicely into the next question that I have here, and that is, did writing the book help you to come to understand life and death differently, and if so, how?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I watch a lot of Science Channel shows, so this was kind of my way of kind of mixing the Science Channel, philosophy, religion, and just kind of shoving it all into one little package. And this is really how religion makes sense to me, and really how life makes sense to me. It really, if you think about it, it makes life a little more meaningful. Like in each one of Clemenza's lives, she wants to lead a meaningful life.
How long did it take you to write the book?
I'd say about 5 months, and then rewriting and trying to edit it, and then waiting for publisher responses for about a year.
Yeah. Well, I definitely want to talk about some of that, but let's talk about the first thing you mentioned there, a little bit of your process. So it took 5 months, did you say?
Yes.
It took about 5 months to write the first draft. What is your writing process like? Do you write better at certain times of the day?
Yeah, I definitely am a morning person. I never thought that I would say that. But I definitely, there's something about waking up in the morning, getting up early. It's probably coffee.
Sure. And
just sitting down and just, I don't know, I have a lot of ideas that come to me throughout the day, but for some reason they all make sense in the morning.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm a morning person. If provided I have coffee. If I have some coffee, then I'm good to go. So how do you revise? Do you revise as you go along? Do you do a major revision at the end of the project?
I kind of do chapter by chapter. I didn't really know. I don't outline, so I really had no idea where the book was going whenever I first started writing it. I just sat down and just started writing as the ideas started coming to me, and then that's whenever I started coming up with the concepts of the other lives. So I definitely sat down at the end of it and did a major revision, but I did also chapter by chapter just to make the book flow.
Now, did you get any feedback from other readers after the first draft was done or during the process of writing it that informed a revision of it?
I didn't. I'm such a, I don't know, I'm a very personal person. So I kind of, at first I'm kind of like embarrassed, and at the end of every chapter I always think, what am I doing? This doesn't even make any sense at all. Who's going to want to read this? And then as I started sharing it with my family, they started saying, my family is very honest. And I know that it probably sounds like, yeah, right, Holly, but they really are very, very honest. I think my brother is a software engineer, and he told me after he read the first paragraph, I say that heavens is billions and billions of miles away from the earth, and he said, Holly, that's not actually true. And I was like, well, I don't really know where heaven is. So they're very honest with me, and they gave me great feedback.
Well, that's very That's very interesting. So do you think that you revised any based on some of that feedback at all, or was it pretty complete by the time you got done with the first draft?
It was pretty complete by the time I got done with the first draft.
Very cool.
I just kind of was, filling in afterwards.
Well, for folks watching at home, the author, of course, is Holly Christine. Her book is The 9 Lives of Clemenza. She has another book, too, which I want to get to chatting a little bit about here in a moment. What has surprised you the most, Holly, with regard to the reader response to The 9 Lives of Clemenza?
I wasn't getting much of a response until I made it available for Kindle, and made the price $1. Actually, because of your forum, I realized that I was asking for 99 cents, and then from your forum I realized that by pricing it at $1, that Amazon would discount it to 80 cents. Right. So I've gotten a lot of feedback from that. Maybe people who would have never paid $12 for a paperback from an author they've never heard of before. And I've gotten a lot of positive feedback, and I was really surprised. One reader actually told me that it would stay with her for years to come, so I was really delighted to hear that.
Oh, that does make you feel good.
Yeah.
Well, let's kind of dig in a little bit. The book is about some pretty heavy-duty issues, although it's told in this very innocent, kind of almost childlike voice. Which I think helps to balance some of the deeper stuff going on there. It really works very, very well. What answers have you found? What answers have you come to, Holly, for why you're here on this earth?
Well, I think that, I don't know if this is just my age now, but I think that I'm much more comfortable with being myself after writing the book, and just kind of thinking, that even if something terrible happens, that it's not the end of the world, and that it's, I'm obviously not a teenager anymore, so I'm not taking everything so to heart.
Mm-hmm. These are big questions, but that's what your book points at. What is the meaning of life to you now?
I think the meaning of life is to try to connect with as many people as you possibly can on a personal level. Even at work, I wait on customers for my paying job, and I have a lot of great relationships with my customers because I like to hear their stories, and I can, just from hearing other people's stories, you can relate to them. And I think that by sharing your own stories, then other people can relate to you as well. I mean, I truly believe that we're really all the same. I hate to, classify people and put people into different groups, because I really do believe that we're just people, no matter what. It doesn't matter who you are, or what your profession is, or even what you want to do with your life. At the heart of it, we're all the same.
And again, these are huge questions, but that's kind of what the book sort of focuses on to some degree. What do you think, or what do you hope happens when we die?
Well, at the end of the 9 Lives of Clemenza has 3 choices. And I discussed this at the beginning of the book, so I'm not throwing everything away here. She's able to apply to become an angel. She can go back to one life and live one last life, but then her soul will cease to exist, or she can retire in God's 10th life retirement community, and I would love to retire.
Very good. Well, let's talk a little bit about the fact that you published it on the Amazon Kindle. Of course, a lot of our audience is composed of aspiring writers, a bunch of people, I'm sure, on the Kindle boards site will probably watch the video. Can you talk a little bit about your decision to publish the book on Amazon Kindle?
It was kind of a no-brainer. It was something that I did. I published through Lulu. Mm-hmm. I self-published through Lulu, and I was just trying to get the book out there as much as possible and reach to a new reader base. And I think the Kindle is a great concept. I'm more of I like to kind of hoard my books, though, and show off my collection to everyone. And So I'm kind of debating if I do want a Kindle. I mean, it would be great, but I can't imagine how much money I would still end up paying for books. I'd be constantly downloading.
Well, what are your thoughts on whether indie publishing helps or hurts writers find traditional publishing?
Well, I would say for readers, it's a great option. As a reader myself, I get so tired of reading the same story or the same, someone else's, a twist on someone else's story. I think that there's a lot of that out there right now, kind of like success with one author, and then publishers seem to just kind of jump on that bandwagon, and we continue to see the same things. When Governor Blagojevich received his 6-figure book deal from Phoenix Books, that's whenever I said, I'm going to be an independent author. Clearly you have to do something extreme, or, something really, really good or really, really bad in order to get noticed. So, I mean, that's what kind of put me in the boat.
Are you still trying to find a literary agent or a traditional route for your writing?
No. I wouldn't say that I've given up on it. I'm much more interested in where I can go with this, and it's challenging. I enjoy the challenge. I enjoy seeing the fruits of my labor. I enjoy, seeing if I do one thing, if my sales increase from that. I enjoy the contact with the readers that I have. Mm-hmm. So I think that, I fear that would be lost.
It would definitely change things dramatically, no doubt about it.
Yes.
Well, what are some of the things, some of the strategies, talking about like marketing strategies, that you've noticed from successful Kindle authors that have helped make people aware of their books and have helped sell books?
I think the forums, joining the Kindle forums, has helped out greatly, and not only just joining them and announcing your book, but actually having a presence in those forums. And also the pricing of the book. I mean, it's just, like, my viewpoint is that you're just sending a book to a wireless reading device, and there really is no cost there. So I really don't understand why a lot of traditionally published books are still so outrageously expensive for the Kindle. So I think a great price and a great presence is what will help sales.
Very cool. Well, we're coming down to just our last couple of minutes here. So how can folks find your books? How can they find out a little bit more about Holly Christine and the book, The Nine Lives of Clemenza?
I have a website, www.hollychristineonline.com. I'm on Amazon.com, Goodreads.com, and the book's available in paperback and for Kindle as well.
And finally, you've got another book, am I correct here, Retail Ready. What can you tell us about Retail Ready?
Retail Ready was inspired by my current career, I guess. I work for a really unique bank, and we are a community branch, so we deal with some really odd people and really different circumstances. So I couldn't help but be inspired by that. But it's also owned by it's a major corporation, and I think that my feelings for the corporation kind of came out a little bit in that book. If the 9 Lives of Clemenza is heaven, then Retail Ready is definitely hell. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Well, very cool. Thank you very much, Holly Christine, for chatting with us here on Online Book Review.
Thanks for having me.
And for all of us here at the site, I want to thank our audience for tuning in. Thanks so much. So we are clear.
Yay.